Hello everybody and welcome to episode 29 of Broadcast UGC. I'm Galactrix and I'm here with my co-host Bazag.
Good morning everyone.
Good morning, and also we're here with special guests. We've got our guest author Sovereign77X.
Hello everybody.
And we've got a guest from the chat room, which is Captain Marshall, who's the host of the Temporal Directive podcast.
Hello.
Hello, and we are playing Forget Me Not.
Forget Me, yep.
Which I almost forgot. So, can you tell us a little bit about the mission?
So, a little background on this mission. Forget Me Not is a mission that is designed to really do two things. When I set out to create this mission, I wanted it to offer a gameplay experience that could be radically different based on player choice. So this was my personal experiment, creating a mission that had some heavily branching objectives, at least as much as the Foundry will allow. And the second goal, the second objective that I had, was to try to create something that would be a lot more personal for the player, something that had the potential for a little more emotional impact. And so one of the things that I did that was a little controversial is I actually set out to write a little bit of backstory for the player. In fact, you'll see a big disclaimer when you accept the mission. I warned that players who are very specific, very picky about their character's backstory might want to stay away. The liberty that I took with your backstory is that I assumed that you had a protege, that you had a friend, someone that you had sort of trained, who'd gone on to have a successful Starfleet career, get her own command, and her name is Samantha Terran. And as you go through the mission, you'll actually see some flashbacks that kind of highlight your history with this character. And my goal in doing that was to create something that would feel a little bit more personal as you play through this story. And you know, trying to, I won't give away the plot right now, but she's going to be very central to the plot of the story that we're going to play.
A supply convoy has gone missing while under the protection of your former protege and close friend, Commander Samantha Terran. In a time when so much is sacrificed and so many lives are lost, will you go to extraordinary lengths to bring this one Starfleet officer home? This is a story-driven mission offering a choice between combat or stealth-orientated gameplay.
Okay, so we should probably tell people where we are. We're in the Alpha Centauri sector block, and this mission starts in the Cyane system. I think that's how you say it.
Okay, so we've got a bit of a author's note to begin with. Thank you for your interest in my mission. Because your gaming time is valuable, please take a few moments to read the information below to make sure this mission is what you're looking for. Length, approximately 30 to 60 minutes. Style, this is a story-driven and creative for those who enjoy reading dialogue. It involves branching decisions that can lead to radically different gameplay experiences. I have also taken some creative license and written some backstory for your character. Players who have strong feelings about their backstory may want to avoid this mission. Combat difficulty. All combat in the mission is optional. However, if you do engage in combat, the battles can be quite intense. Difficulty is higher than normal stow missions. Only very experienced and well-equipped players should play on advanced or elite difficulty. Solo versus group play. This mission is optimized for solo play. So we'll just accept that and we can begin.
Okay, cool. Begin, Forget Me Not. Okay, I see a pop-up. The mission begins with your crews investigating a strange anomaly in the Cyane system. The shadowy figure you see here is a narrator of sorts. He'll pop up occasionally to provide explanation, moments of memory or reflection, and to give instructions to challenges or objectives. Okay. It's pretty clever what you've done with the blacked out, because you can't.
Yeah, everything's black from his face, eyes, and to the costume. To
I
the
wish they
You
would
know,
uniform.
just
it's
give us like a blank screen whenever we wanted a blank screen.
I know, and actually the reason I created the narrator, it was because of a technical hurdle. You know, if you've ever created a Foundry dialogue where you used a crate or a console image in place of a person, you know that the Foundry has a glitch where it occasionally deletes all those images in the editor. And so creating that costume was a way for me to get around that glitch.
Oh, really? So it deletes all your costumes if you use that in a dialogue? I didn't know that.
Just the console or crate costume. So if you ever use like a console for an image instead of a person, when you go into the editor every once in a while, it will delete all of those images from your dialogue, which gets really annoying.
I hope they really fix all these problems.
Yep, you gotta love the fact that it's still a beta product.
Okay,
All
so
right.
everyone looks like they're here.
Yep. I'll read out the captain's log. Stardate 89910.15. After an extended tour of combat duty, the ship has earned a welcome respite and is currently exploring interstellar phenomena in the CNA system near the Romulan border. We've recently detected unusual energy signature using the new sensor array that was installed during our last visit to Earth space dock.
Captain, I've isolated the source of the energy signature. It's coming from a nearby cluster of asteroids. These readings are like nothing I've ever seen.
Let's have a closer look.
I'll tell you right here. I've always had a problem with saying names.
Yes,
We always
that's
have
why
problems with names.
yeah, that's why we say ship or captain or something generic.
So just a little author's note right here. The mission is beginning the way that a lot of Star Trek episodes began, where you're involved in just some random activity, some bit of exploration, you know, a diplomatic meeting, and then you're going to see a shift in the plot.
Right.
Yes, just the basic things so that you're doing something and then all hell breaks loose type of.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Very Star Trek.
I wanted it to feel like an episode from the series.
The quantum signature of these asteroids is currently in a state of flux. If my readings are correct, they are both here and not here at the same time. It's possible that we're looking at something that can also be seen by somebody in a parallel universe.
Well, let's do a bit of reading. We can summarize it, but we'll do a bit more reading.
Okay. I don't know. I have insufficient information to determine whether this phenomenon is artificial or naturally occurring. If it is stable, the potential for new discoveries in quantum mechanics are endless.
Fascinating. This is a remarkable discovery.
Captain, I hate to interrupt, but we're getting a Priority 1 message from Starfleet Command.
Understood. I'll take it in my ready room. You retreat to your ready room and activate the console on your desk. The screen comes to life, and you are greeted by Admiral Dene of Starfleet Command.
Hello, Vice Admiral. Name. I'm sorry to interrupt your current mission, but we have an urgent situation that requires your immediate attention. We recently lost contact with a convoy carrying relief supplies to Romulan citizens living near the Federation-Romulan border. As you're well aware, the current political situation with the Romulans is delicate, to say the least. These supplies are part of an outreach program by the Federation to strengthen ties with the new government on Raytor 3.
Do we have any idea what happened to the convoy?
None. We lost contact while they were traveling through the Isolane Nebula. The ionic storms in that region can cause communication blackouts, but the convoy should have cleared the nebula over 12 hours ago.
Did the convoy have an escort?
Yes, the USS Cicero under the command of Commander Samantha Terran.
You were momentarily stunned upon hearing that familiar name. Despite the sudden flood of concern washing over you, you maintain your composure and continue the conversation.
I know that Commander Terran is both a friend and former protege of yours. These are troubled times, and it's not uncommon to learn that a good friend has disappeared. You're the closest starship to the nebula. Your orders are to make best speed for the convoy's last known location and ascertain the situation.
Yes, sir.
Vice Admiral, or rank. I'm sure I don't have to remind you that Samantha Terran is one of Starfleet's most capable commanders. After all, it was your frequent praise of her performance while she was a member of your crew that helped her get to where she is today. Whatever caught her off guard may still be out there. Watch her back.
I will. As the screen fades to black and the console recedes into your desk, you briskly leave your ready room. Upon entering the bridge, you order your crew to set a course for the Isolane Nebula. Maximum warp.
Course laid in, Captain.
Engage.
All right. Should we go ahead and engage?
I always like on the group when you do simultaneous warp out.
Yeah, especially when you're at odd angles and you cross over or something. So, Master Durham has played the mission before. So what led you to asking to come on the show and join us from the chat room? What was it about this mission?
I don't know. I just thought if I would ask if I could join, it'd be great.
It's good. We love having people from the chat room join us. We've also, we've done it in the past. We invited on Woody Valley once, and he's coming up soon, and the bite side's coming up later. We've got missions reviewed by Woody Valley's missions coming up. So let's continue on first with this mission.
Captain, we've arrived at the Isolane Nebula.
Begin a sensor sweep.
I've made a sensor sweep of the area. The ionic storms in this region are making it difficult to get an accurate reading. I'm detecting 5 distinct sensor contacts nearby, but we'll need to get closer to each to determine what they are.
Understood. You stare at the nebula's image on the view screen. Your mind begins to drift back to the time shortly after you were formally given your first command. The crew was still coping with the loss of Captain Kartanmak following the events at Vega. You hadn't meant to eavesdrop, but a heated exchange in the corridor caught your attention as you were coming around the corner.
But so soon? How could Starfleet give Lieutenant Your Name a command so quickly? Our new captain was simply Ensign Your Name just last month.
I agree. We're in the middle of war. I don't understand how someone with so little experience could be put in command of a ship, even a bucket like this.
The lieutenant saved the lives of hundreds of Starfleet officers after taking command of Vega. You will show the lieutenant and the ship the respect they deserve, or I'll throw you both out the nearest airlock.
For a moment, it almost sounded like she was serious about that threat.
What are your orders, Captain?
Bring us close to the nearest sensor contact. So
we're looking for the navigational beacons.
Talking about the airlock, that's what I do to some crew members that scratch the hull of my ship.
Captain, we found one of the convoy freighters. It's heavily damaged and adrift in space. We should scan the ship for survivors and see what clues we can find about who was responsible for this.
Make it so.
Scan complete. I'm not reading any life signs.
Just a quick question. How many scans will we be doing of freighters? As we
just a couple.
Okay.
Most of the there are just a couple of freighters that you're going to find here. There are some other little things out here as well, aside from the freighters that we're going to stumble across.
Okay, well then let's read all of it then. What happened?
I've analyzed the damage patterns on the ship. They are consistent with disruptor and plasma-based weapons, identical to those employed by the Romulans or Remans.
Whoever did this could still be close.
I'm detecting something. It's very faint. I believe it's coming from one of the cargo bays. The signal is being obscured by a dampening field. Captain, I think somebody might be alive on that ship after all.
We're being hailed.
On screen.
A starship. Thank you for coming. We only have 2 hours of life support remaining.
What happened to you?
I don't know. I was in this cargo bay with a few other crew members when the attack began. It was an ambush. The bridge was destroyed and we had no idea what was going on. There were hull breaches everywhere, so many explosions. The intercom was filled with people screaming. Whoever attacked us started beaming our cargo off the ship. Then they opened fire again. It was clear they didn't intend to leave survivors, so I created a dampening field in this cargo bay to mask our life signs. That was over 28 hours ago. I'd almost given up hope that any of us would leave the ship alive. When the attack stopped, I was able to tap into the sensor grid and the communication system. What's left of them. When your ship arrived, I had no idea if you were friend or foe.
You're safe now. Stand by for transport.
I've beamed the survivors aboard. Captain, recommends we resume our search.
Agreed.
All right, let's actually head left. If you guys want to follow me, I'll take you to the next conversation. And a recommendation I have, since this was optimized for solo play, is that as we're all going through the dialogue, let's have Bazag be the one to choose which option we're all going to select, because some of the events in this mission are triggered based on the dialogue options that you choose. So we'll all need to choose the same options. So whenever Bazag says something in response, we'll just assume that that's the correct response and pick that one.
Okay.
Oh, there's a Ferengi merchant ship here as well.
Captain, it's a Ferengi merchant vessel. They appear to be ignoring us.
Hail them. Oh,
No response.
So, Bazag, what are you going to choose?
Oh, let's threaten them. They're Ferengi. They need to be threatened. Hail them again and threaten to detain them.
They're answering our hail.
How dare you threaten me? I am traveling through this area on legitimate business. You have no right to stop my ship. I intend to lodge a formal complaint with your government over this. Should we ask questions or just apologize? We've already got him annoyed, so we may as well ask our questions.
So go ahead, but first I have questions. Is that the option to pick?
Yes, that's the option to pick.
Okay.
Be careful, Captain. The Ferengi captain is correct. We have no legitimate cause to hold him.
What could I possibly know that would be of interest to you? Do you travel in this area frequently? It feels odd being both the I am no stranger to this nebula. I carry goods to the Romulan Empire on behalf of the Ferengi Alliance. Do you know about any hostile ships in the area? No, and if I did, why would I share it? There is no profit in making unnecessary enemies. Rule of acquisition number 208 states that sometimes the only thing more dangerous than a question is the answer.
So you've got 3 options to choose from as far as your response here. The first one, I'll tell you, though, ends the conversation. So it depends. If you want to keep it going, you'll have to select either the second or the third.
Yeah, I think 62 would, the middle one is the best one. Rule of acquisition number 62. The riskier the road, the greater the profit. What could you possibly have to offer me? My goodwill and appreciation. Ha! You're going to have to do better than that.
So here again, you get to choose dark side, light side. Again, author's tip, light side will end the conversation. If you want to keep it going, you're going to have to go dark.
Oh, well. He's not going to share, and
It's up to you.
What does the chat room think? Should we keep going, go the light side or the dark side?
The server says the dark side have cookies.
Well, matter of fact, about the Ferengi, I did have a mission about killing them. It was a request from a fleet.
Mhm.
Did you actually,
Okay,
when
well,
you played through this, which option did you choose, Captain Marshall?
I really just when I did this, I ignored the Ferengi, but I guess dark side.
yeah, Cerberus says dark side, and we haven't had any other response. Oh, Rogue says, cookies, so I guess he agrees.
Okay, losing patience.
Please, you're Starfleet. Your threat's as empty as my cousin Zorn's bank account. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll be on my way.
Do you think we should shoot some torpedoes at him?
Nah, let's not go that far. I've still got to at least pretend to be a Starfleet captain.
So we're choosing the option as you wish.
Yes, as you wish.
He wasn't very cooperative, but I thought I could see a bit of fear in his eyes. I wonder if he knows something.
Perhaps, but we can't hold him. So he probably would have told us something if we'd just continued a bit more. I suppose that's part of why we do this, is so we can tease things.
Yep.
So when people play it through themselves, they can find out. Strange, I had a distance sensor reading on this area, but as soon as we got close, it disappeared.
What do you make of it?
Before the contact disappeared, I detect a neutrino surge in the area. It could have come from a ship as it was beginning to cloak. With all the ionic interference from the nebula, a cloaking field would be fragile and difficult to maintain. If there is a cloaked ship out there, we might be able to see it with a tachyon burst.
Captain, if somebody's out there, it's a safe bet they don't want to be found. If we initiate that pulse, we should be ready for a hostile response.
Agreed.
It's
So,
an
Here you
optional
have
thing.
an optional thing you can do. Do you want to initiate the pulse?
well, it
Do
seems-
it.
Yeah, do it. We're gonna fight. Get ready for a fight.
Wow.
Yep.
And because we're playing as a group, this fight's going to be a little more intense than it would be if
Okay,
you were just playing
I'm
by
dead.
yourself.
Almost, anyway.
This is going to be a interesting fight.
And I just need to respawn. I'm squishy. Escort.
I'm more squishy than you is. I'm in a captain level ship.
Rear shields failing.
I'm not even making in the dent in the decks I'm firing at, so I think I'm going to go with the little escorts.
Right shields failing.
Well, they're not really little, really.
Well, relative to the decks.
Hull integrity below 25%.
Here, you have some hull. Okay.
Hull integrity below 50%.
Oh, looks like we all got him.
Yep.
Hull integrity below 75%.
Okay.
The remits have been destroyed.
Okay, Captain, the freighter damage we analyzed is consistent with the weapons the Remans just used against us. It's a safe bet that the Remans are behind these attacks.
Keep a sharp eye. There could be more of them.
Okay, so that explains the wrecked freighters.
Serb, if you were here for the beginning, you would know who is who. So whose fault is that?
It's the convoy freighter. We should scan the ship for survivors.
Make it so.
Captain, this freighter has been flooded with theta radiation from a damaged plasma relay. There are definitely no survivors aboard.
Understood.
The damage to this ship is consistent with the weaponry used by the Riemann ships that attacked us.
No, that's interesting. I assume that would have been different if we hadn't done the optional and we hadn't discovered the Remans.
Actually, it would. The conversation would be slightly different if you hadn't engaged the Remans back there. That's exactly right.
Excellent attention to detail. Anyway, according to the
Thank you.
manifest, this ship had a crew of over 100 people.
We'll find those responsible. Your memory again takes you back, this time to a battle with a Klingon bird of prey. You were shouting at Samantha Taran, now a lieutenant and your chief engineer, through the intercom. I need those phasers back online, now!
You'll have them, Captain. I'm rerouting main power through the secondary relays.
A hull breach rocks the ship.
Captain, inertial dampeners are failing. Multiple hull breaches on deck 6 through 8.
Got it. Phasers are back online.
You practically fly up out of your ship. Fire! The Klingon ship explodes.
What are your orders?
Resume the search.
Just one more of these sensor contacts.
I think this is the last one.
Captain, I'm picking up a Federation distress beacon. It could be the Cicero.
Yeah, this one, for some reason, I triggered the right one. You're actually triggering the dialogue that's the one that's next. So if you see ops down near the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's two opses.
Yeah.
So read the one on the sensor contact first.
The sensor contact is merely a comet passing through the sector. The comet is giving off high levels of triolic radiation. I recommend we keep our distance to avoid having any Davidian visitors.
Let's assume people know what Davidians are, so we'll just say agree. You let out a disappointed breath and do your best to conceal the rising concern and apprehension you feel. Let's move on.
Okay, now let's read the Cicero dialogue.
Captain, I'm picking up a Federation distress beacon. It could be the Cicero.
Lay in a course.
We found the Cicero. She's taken a beating and is adrift in space.
Scan for survivors.
Scan complete. The hull breaches all over the ship. Life support is inoperative. Negative on life signs.
Continue.
I'm sorry, Captain.
Continue again.
She didn't go down without a fight. I'm sure she gave them hell.
Captain, I'm picking up another ship nearby. It's a Riemann warbird.
Lay in an intercept course.
Captain, the warbird has suffered heavy damage, most likely from combat with the USS Cicero. Its shields are up, but its weapons and warp drive are offline. It's also safe to assume they can't cloak.
Approach the ship and hail them.
Okay, you gotta let me be the bad guy here. They're responding to our hail.
On screen.
My name is Jord Tal, captain of the Riemann warbird Vendetta. Let's dispense with the pleasantries and get to the point. I represent a faction of the Riemann resistance that will no longer bow to the authority of the Romulan Empire, nor do we accept the leadership of the coward Obasek, who would run to your Federation for help in fighting our battles.
Are you responsible for the attack on our convoy?
Of course. We will not allow you to provide further aid to the Romulans. Your presence in this sector will not be tolerated.
You will answer for your crimes.
Crimes. You provide aid to our mortal enemy. You are an accomplice to the imprisonment, torture, and execution of thousands of Remans. Do not pretend to have any moral authority here.
Lower your shield to prepare to be boarded.
I think not. During our last raid, we took several prisoners from the USS Cicero. Her commander and several of her officers are now our guests. If you attempt to board my ship, I will have them executed. If you wish to see them alive again, you will provide me with 100 quantum warheads, 10 canisters of biomimetic gel, and 4 Mark 8 power converters. You will then travel 10 light years from the nebula. Once our warp drive is operational, we will leave your officers behind in an escape pod. You have 30 minutes to comply.
The transmission ends.
Captain, sensors
Oh,
confirm that
sorry.
the presence of several Starfleet officers are aboard the ship.
Recommendations?
Given the savagery of their attack on the convoy, it's very unlikely the Remans will release the hostages unharmed, regardless of whether we comply with their demands.
Agreed, and I don't think I like giving them the stuff anyway, so...
No, you don't want to give them that stuff.
Captain, there may be another option. Due to the ionic interference of the nebula, there are several small gaps in the warbird's shields. The prisoners are secured in a part of the ship that is protected by a transporter dampening field. However, it may be possible to beam an away team into a nearby cargo bay and attempt a rescue.
I strongly recommend against this plan. An away team is going to face long odds trying to rescue a group of hostages from a ship full of Remans. We'd simply be giving them more prisoners. Captain, I doubt Starfleet Command would approve of this strategy.
As you consider your options, your mind flashes back to a conversation with Samantha Taryn. Good work today, Lieutenant. Not only did you hold the ship together during that battle with the Klingons, but you kept your engineering team together as well. Have you considered switching from engineering to a career path in command?
Captain, are you trying to get rid of me?
A playful smile crosses her lips. You smile back. Absolutely.
Captain, what are your orders?
We're going over there. Prepare an away team.
Transporter standing by. Captain, the Delta ship will attain a transporter lock on the away team. Once you find the hostages, we'll need to deactivate the dampening field before the Delta ship can bring you home.
Remember to use the energize button from below. If you use the warp button next to the minimap, you will accidentally abort the mission. Have you had to put that in just because people...
Unfortunately, you'd be surprised how many 1-stars some of my missions have gotten from players that accidentally beamed out of or warped out of the mission.
My
Okay,
goodness.
I guess we need a engineer, so I'll bring Donnie along.
Okay, cool.
So I guess now is the point where you decide whether to go for the stealth approach or for the pew-pew.
Yep, that's going to come up in the conversation here pretty quick.
When I did this mission, I did stealth.
Yeah,
Stealth is what I'd recommend, unless the chat room feels differently, because that'll show off some very unique gameplay.
so chat room, do you reckon we should go with the advanced stealth option? Well, I'm patching up the game. And yes, knowing that you've been up for 24 hours is not an answer, sir.
All right, should I go ahead and start in on the dialogue?
Yep.
It appears that the ship managed to safely beam us all aboard. Unfortunately, there's a lot of distance between us and the hostages.
So far, so good.
The exit to this room is currently blocked by a force field. We'll need to deactivate it using the nearby console before we can continue.
Captain, we're likely to encounter heavy resistance if we attempt to secure the hostages by force. I doubt it will take the Remans long to notice we're here once we begin moving around this deck. However, it may be possible for one person to slip past the Remans undetected. we're much more likely to succeed if we can reach the hostages before the Remans discover our presence.
An interesting idea.
Captain, I strongly advise against this strategy, especially since I suspect you'll insist on being the one to go. There are a lot of Remans between us and the hostages. Anyone who tries to reach them alone is likely to be captured or get killed.
That's also true. Choose your path. To continue the mission, you must choose between a normal combat approach or a unique stealth approach. If you choose the combat approach, the Remans will quickly discover your presence aboard the ship. You will also have a limited amount of time to secure the hostages before they are executed. You will also need to think tactically to avoid becoming overwhelmed by enemy forces. If you choose a stealth approach, you will need to leave your bridge officers in this room and continue alone. You will have to overcome several unique challenges to remain undetected. If you are discovered by the Remans, you will automatically switch to the combat approach. Which path do you choose? So,
But they're going stealth in the
yeah.
thing, and
Captain
Dennis wants to go normal. So,
Yeah,
but he said go
he
stealth.
said stealth. Yeah, said stealth and switch. You know, we only accept one answer here, Captain. So we'll go stealth.
All
Okay,
right.
stealth.
Okay, so
And
there's
then
an expert.
go ahead and read
mode.
the.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, you go.
I was just going to say, here, let's go ahead and choose expert since I'll just guide us all through. But I'd like to highlight, because the difference between stealth and normal, you'll read a little bit more about it here pretty soon. But bottom line, the challenges are a little bit more interesting. They have a few more steps, and they're a little more difficult on expert as opposed to normal. And I'd like to highlight those if I could. So let's go ahead and select expert, but let's read the dialogue first.
Choose your difficulty. As you enter each new room on this map, you'll have a unique stealth challenge. Before the challenge begins, you'll be given instructions on what you must do to complete it. Due to its unique style of gameplay, the stealth approach offers two different difficulty options. Normal mode. Normal mode is strongly recommended if this is your first time playing the mission. It will guide you around enemies, provide hints to complete certain challenges, or even allow you to skip some challenges altogether. Expert mode. It's much more difficult. Beyond the initial instructions for each challenge, it will not provide any assistance. This mode is best for individuals that like interesting puzzles and have the time and patience to complete them. Failure is a strong possibility in expert mode. Which difficulty level do you choose? Expert. You have chosen expert mode. Remember to leave your bridge officers in this room using a rally point.
So we'll leave the one engineering guy here, but we'll all go ahead and continue as if we were going alone.
Okay.
Donnie, I'm sending you to hide behind these crates.
Are you sure about this, Captain?
Yes, we must ensure the safety of the hostages.
First things first, we need to use the console next to the, let's see a typo there, force
thank
field
you.
to bring it down.
We'd better get started. No, that's part of the good things about actually reading the dialogue, because you have to notice, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I want to see how the Ferengi whip works, because I've never actually seen it in action. Cool.
Force field control accessed. Please enter authorization code.
The console controls the force field. Unfortunately, we don't have the access codes to bring the field down. We could sabotage the power flow to the force field, but that would certainly set off an alarm and draw a lot of unwanted attention.
Do we have any other options?
Perhaps. I believe you can use the console to reroute the power flow away from the force field. If you successfully reroute the power at least 5 times, the force field should automatically deactivate.
Understood. Challenge 1, power transfer. There are 3 systems to which you can reroute force field power. They are 1, life support, 2, artificial gravity, 3. Internal sensors. You may use each system more than once. However, you cannot use the same system twice in a row. Okay, let's make some notes here. 1. The fifth and final system which you must divert power must be the internal sensors. 2. Either the life support system or the artificial gravity system must be the first system to which you reroute the power flow. 3. After diverting power to the life support system, the next system to which you reroute power must be internal sensors. You cannot divert power to the life support system immediately after rerouting power to the internal sensors. You cannot divert power to the internal sensors after immediately rerouting power to the artificial gravity system. Okay, so that means number 4 has to be life support. We can't do life support yet. Well, life support has to be before internal sensors because we can't. Yeah. So then artificial gravity. Yep. Okay. I think I've got it.
Okay. Let's see if you got it right.
So
what's
the first option?
Is life support, then internal sensors, then artificial gravity, life support, internal sensors.
Okay, so life support.
Internal sensors, artificial gravity, life support, internal sensors. So, has everyone got it?
Mm-hmm.
Yep, got it.
Yep.
Good job.
Captain,
Yeah.
Captain, you did it. Not only have you deactivated the force field, but you've given us access to the internal sensors on this deck. This will allow us to monitor your progress. We'll stay in communications with you and warn you about any obstacles as you attempt to reach the hostages undetected.
Perfect. Let's get started. Remember, if you wish to continue with the stealth option, you should use a rally point to leave your bridge officers in this room.
Okay, just a little author's note here. That last challenge we just did, if you were playing on normal mode, you would have actually had the option to just skip over that puzzle if you wanted to. So there's kind of a successfully skipped puzzle for those that didn't want to solve it. On this mode, on elite difficulty, there is an option for those who don't want to complete the puzzle, and that's a forfeit option. However, when someone chooses that, they then have the option to sabotage the console, which sets off an alarm and triggers the combat scenario. So you would divert from stealth to combat if you forfeited on elite.
Boom.
Just pointing out the difference there between the two difficulties.
Yeah, so you could decide at any point to go, nah, I don't want to continue this.
That's exactly right. Captain, I'm detecting a large number of remans in the next room. You will need to find a way to traverse this area without being seen.
That's easier said than done. Challenge number 2, Ghost Protocol. To complete this challenge, you must reach the exit on the other side of the room without being seen by any of the remans inside. You can accomplish this by avoiding each reman's field of vision. The remans will quickly see you if you approach any of them from the front or the side. However, you can get pretty close, but not too close, to the remans from behind. You can also use large objects in the room as cover. Please note, due to the mechanics of this challenge, skills like Stealth Module, Distortion Field, and Shroud will not prevent the enemy from detecting you. Good luck.
Okay, everybody stay close behind me, and I'll guide you through. This is kind of a maze of sorts. If we were playing on normal, there would actually be little lights on the floor guiding us on the correct path. So just go ahead and follow. Take a moment. You can kind of see there are about 15 remans scattered throughout the room. And so you have to be very careful about the path that you take to avoid being detected. So just stay close. Kind of a fun little maze here. And I'm going I'm going to show you how close I can get to this Riemann over here without being detected. You'll see the one right in front of me.
Yeah.
That's just the way this mission is designed, so you really can kind of sneak up from behind. But if you get close at all from the front and somewhat close from the side, you'll be instantly detected. So this is for people who enjoy games like, what's that Tom Clancy game, Splinter Cell,
Yeah.
or even Deus Ex, you know, like the stealth
love
option.
that.
That's what this is designed for.
So the name of this challenge was stolen
Ghost
from
Protocol,
that,
which
was
is
it?
like Tom Clancy's Ghost Protocol.
Yeah, it kind of was. It was brazenly ripped off. So let's all continue together here. There's actually an invisible wall that appears back here to prevent players from getting turned around and accidentally screwing things up. So everybody needs to come forward together. If you do get stuck behind an invisible wall, though, if you're playing in a group, that's how that would happen. I did put in kind of an emergency release for it. But yeah, just FYI. So, Captain, if my readings are correct, the room up ahead is occupied by approximately 21 Riemanns, and the exit is currently sealed by another force field. You'll need to find a control panel somewhere inside the room to deactivate the field.
Recommendations.
I've hacked into the environmental controls for this deck, and I can release a smoke screen that will conceal you from the Riemanns.
Challenge number 3, smokescreen. You must locate the proper console inside this room to deactivate the force field blocking the exit. As long as the smokescreen is active, none of the enemies in the room will be able to detect you. Please note, on lower gravity settings, you may not be able to see the smoke. Nevertheless, it is still there, and the Riemann cannot see you.
Yeah, lower graphic settings.
Lower gravity.
Sorry.
That's all right.
The Riemanns have beamed several repair bots into the room to store environmental control. You must locate each repair bot and disable it before you attempt to bring down the force field. Otherwise, the smoke screen will prematurely disappear, and you will be visible to the Riemanns. Good luck.
All right, so we got to
Okay.
search for these little repair bots inside the smoke-filled room and deactivate them. And just a little author's note, there are 4, and most of them are easy to find except for one, which I hid pretty well. So when you see these little things, there you go. There's actually a little pop-up that will come up too, letting us know that we found all the robots, so I don't leave the player hanging completely. But you know, it is elite difficulty, so it has to be
Here's one over here.
somewhat challenging.
And Galactrix is cheating by using the tricorder.
Actually, I think the tricorder will only show him where the actually, no, there's only one objective here, so I don't think the tricorder is highlighting the bot. I could be wrong about that.
No,
though.
that doesn't. It does any interact.
Anything interactive.
Oh,
it
yeah, I guess
points
that's a
at
good
them.
way to cheat then.
Yeah, it doesn't actually do objectives. It just does interact.
Understood.
Captain, you have successfully sabotaged all the repair bots. You can safely deactivate the force field and get out of there.
Understood.
Cool.
Sorry, I want to say successfully.
That took care of the force field. Time to get moving.
Agreed. Oh, now we've got to go back over this way. So I presume there's invisible walls that are blocking every single Riemann mob.
Yep, that's exactly right. And if you fail the challenge, the smoke screen disappears and those walls come down.
Captain, the hostages aren't... Oh, too far away. I probably should have let someone else do that. But anyway. Understood.
The Riemanns have restored environmental control.
Thanks again for the cover.
I have an update on the next room.
Let's hear it.
Captain, the room you're about to enter appears to be empty.
That's a welcome change of pace.
Wait, I'm getting some strange readings from an alcove in the east side of the room. They appear to be emanating from some kind of interdimensional rift.
What?
If the Remans are experimenting with some new form of technology, it may be prudent to analyze it and learn what we can.
Perhaps.
Captain, I strongly disagree. We're here to rescue the hostages. I believe you should avoid any distractions and continue moving toward your goal.
Challenge 4, curiosity. The challenge is simple. You must decide whether to investigate the strange anomaly in this area or continue through this room toward the hostages. Choose wisely.
I have to say this. Curiosity killed the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm suspecting like Davidians to pop out or something because of that comment earlier.
Actually, you're exactly right about that. And then the Remans beam in and you fail the challenge. So, you can decide whether you want to indulge your curiosity or keep going on stealth.
Oh, but we're Starfleet. A part of Starfleet is investigating anomalies like that.
But you
Aw.
chose
The DTI.
expert stealth, you gotta keep secret.
And the DTI investigates time, yet I'm the director of it, the fleet.
I really like that you can name the various ranks in a fleet.
Yep.
The hostages are located in the next room.
The Remans have put the hostages under heavy guard.
Suggestions?
Captain, I wouldn't recommend fighting those Reman guards by yourself. Perhaps there is something in this area that you could use to even the odds.
Good idea. Challenge 5, even the odds. This challenge is simple. Search the area until you can find something that will allow you to disable the guards and rescue the hostages. Expert mode notice. Because you have selected expert mode, you will need to take extra care to ensure the Remans are unable to summon reinforcements, should you successfully disable the guards already in this room.
All right, so why don't you follow me? I'm going to show you just a couple of neat things in this area. We're actually going to go right, and you can do some of the things in this room in a certain, in various orders. You don't have to do them in a particular order. So we're actually going to bring down the dampening field first, because this is going to give us either a stealth or a combat option. We can choose either one.
That took care of the
Sorry.
That took care of the dampening field.
All we need to do is free the prisoners and we can all go home.
Let's get to it.
Captain, now that the dampening field is down, you can summon reinforcements from the ship to help neutralize the guards.
Acknowledged. Please note, if you summon reinforcements, you will automatically switch from the stealth approach to the combat approach. This will require you to neutralize the guards by force. If you wish to complete this stealth approach, you will need to find another way to deal with the guards.
Okay, so don't select the optional summon reinforcements that you just saw pop up on your screen. Instead, we're going to search the room a little bit. By the way, that mob that's guarding is a Reman captain, and in my opinion, that's one of the toughest mob boss assets in the game.
You open the weapons locker and discover a cache of stasis grenades inside. You relay this discovery to your away team.
Captain, you should be able to use these grenades to incapacitate the guards. And it just says right here, you will now have the option to throw a stasis grenade when you approach the guards, but don't get too close. If they attack you before you throw the grenade, you will have to fight them. Now, little author's note here, this is where you have to be reading the instructions carefully on expert mode.
Yeah.
If you were on normal mode, this would be enough. You could just get close to the guards and you'd see an option to throw the grenade and you'd be done. But because this is expert, if you do that right now, you'll actually set off an alarm and Reman reinforcements will come in. So you have this extra step in expert mode where you have to search the room a little more thoroughly and deactivate the alarm.
Captain, you've successfully deactivated the alarm system in the prison area.
If you already found... Oh, go ahead.
If you already found the stasis grenades, you may now safely approach the guards and use one.
Okay, so just approach slowly until you're just barely close enough, and you'll see an option pop up on your screen.
There we go. I've just got one here.
Okay, go ahead and select that option to throw. There you go. The guards have been neutralized.
Yay!
You'll need to move quickly to secure the hostages.
Acknowledged.
Because you successfully disabled the alarm, the Raymans still don't know you're here. We're here.
I'm securing the hostages now. Congratulations! You have successfully completed all the stealth challenges on expert mode. Do me a favor and post the code. We won't read that at the end of your comments when you complete this mission.
So you don't want people to cheat and like leave a comment even if they didn't do the stealth option. Okay, I'll get that off the screen so people can't see that.
I'm going to go ahead and lower the force field. So far to date, only one person has posted that code in their comments, by the way.
Talk to Commander Taran.
Gerald, is that really you? I should have known that you would be the one to come to my rescue. You arrived just in time. Jortal had given the guards orders to kill us in the next few minutes if you failed to meet his demands. I was beginning to think that none of us would ever leave the ship alive. It's good to see your face.
Likewise.
Captain, Riemann reinforcements will be there any moment. We should beam back to the Argonaut or to the ship immediately.
Agreed.
Your name? Thank you.
Let's get you out of here.
Transporters are ready to beam you and the hostages back.
Energize.
Okay, let's energize.
We've already read that OOC text once, so we don't have to read it again.
Nope, we don't.
No, that was a lot of fun.
Glad you liked it. If you go the combat route, the dialogue also adjusts itself so that it doesn't feel displaced. It doesn't feel disjointed at all. And it's just a combat mission where the mobs get progressively harder right up until you get to that final boss fight.
Yeah. The one thing about the Riemann boss is that all the duplicates that he summons, that those are...
Yep. They're vicious. They are absolutely vicious.
Oh yeah. He does that psychic cloning thing where he duplicates himself and you can't tell which one's which.
Okay, well this
Welcome
is
back,
an interesting
Captain.
bug.
Sorry.
Oh no, go right ahead.
Thanks for bringing us back.
And not a moment too soon, the Riemans have nearly restored power to the Vendetta's weapon systems. Just a little note here, this must be because we're playing as a group, but you should see the Vendetta right in front of us. I'm guessing because of the way this mob comes in, I did some interesting things to try to make it better for group play, but it looks like it kind of messed things up. So the Vendetta hasn't appeared, but just imagine that it's there. If you were playing by yourself, it would be.
Oh, right.
Hell,
Okay.
They're answering our hail.
on screen.
It seems I underestimated you, Rank. That you successfully escaped my ship alive is commendable, but your victory will be short-lived. While I hadn't anticipated your bold infiltration of my vessel, I did expect that you would spend my 30-minute ultimatum concocting a futile strategy to rescue your officers and apprehend me. That has given me sufficient time to summon reinforcements. Your ship is now surrounded by a swarm of cloaked ships. You should have accepted my previous offer.
Captain, I'm reading
Oh.
multiple sensor contacts. Riemann ships are decloaking right on top of us. They have us surrounded.
Red alert.
This is going to be a interesting fight.
Yeah.
It is your choice. Resist and die senselessly, or allow me to take you and your crew hostage. In either case, I will reduce your ship to a pile of stellar debris as a warning to any who would trespass against the Riemann resistance. You have 60 seconds to lower your shields, or I will destroy you.
I guess we don't really have an option but to kill him.
Actually, you do. Keep reading.
Oh.
The Remans have created Tetron distortion fields in the area. It is impossible for us to activate our warp drive.
Recommendations?
I think I speak for most of the crew when I say that we would rather fight than rely on the mercy of the Remans. And if this is our final fight, perhaps we can take Jortalan the Vendetta with us.
I'm not sure that we will do much good, even if we kill Jortrell, sorry, will simply become a
Martyrs.
sorry martyr and a symbol for the resistance. They will likely respond with more violence and frequent raids. Sorry about that.
Captain,
problem.
I have an idea. It's a long shot.
I'm listening.
The comet we discovered earlier, the one giving off high levels of triadic radiation, has drifted closer to our current position. Although the Remans have made it impossible to activate our warp engines, I can still create a static warp shell that would surround us, the comet, and the Reman ships. Using the new relay we recently installed, I can adjust the phase variance inside the shell by 0.004. Both the comet and the phase variance might be enough to get the Davidians' attention. If we're lucky, Davidian portals will begin forming aboard the Reman ships and we can escape in the ensuing chaos.
Won't the Davidians attack us as well?
I believe I can create an internal stasis field aboard the ship that will isolate us from the phase variance. Captain, even though the Davidians are interdimensional beings that can appear at any point in time and space, there's no guarantee that any of this could actually work.
What have we got to lose? Prepare the field. Okay.
Okay, I'm activating a static warp shell. The shell is active, no Davidian activity yet. Wait, I'm getting something. Multiple portals opening on all surrounding Reman vessels.
Fortune smiles on us again.
Captain, I'm reading a flood of communications traffic between the Reman ships. I recommend we leave the area of the distortion field and warp out of the nebula. For the moment, the Remans are too distracted to stop us.
Captain, I don't think we should run away. The Remans have killed over 2,000 Federation citizens, and they'll kill again. Most of the Reman ships are currently incapacitated, and the odds are a little more even. We have a chance to deal a decisive blow to the Raiders.
You're probably right.
Be careful, Captain. Even though many of their ships are incapacitated, it won't be long before they recuperate. We're badly outnumbered, and we've already gone well beyond our original orders to ascertain the fate of the convoy. Should we really push our luck?
You now have a choice. Fight or escape.
What do you guys want to do?
Well,
I wonder what the chat room would
take
think,
this
you
to
know?
the chat room. Yes, fight or escape, chat room.
Ooh, he says
Seb
fight.
says
responds
fight.
fight. He wants to see us get blown up, that's all.
Oh, that's probably going to happen with this. Like I said, this isn't quite so intimidating when it's just one person. But yeah, let's fight.
Okay.
How many
fight it
Dideradex
is.
ships do you actually see around us?
You only see the one, so you normally see the Vendetta. For some reason, it's not appearing here, and I'm guessing it's because I tried to do something for groups where you would just see the Vendetta and not any reinforcements around it, because when you're first talking to it, you don't want to see other ships, you just want to see it. But and I've tested it before with one other person. I'm wondering if because we're in a group of 4, it changed the way that mob was going to appear.
Yeah.
And so,
The configuration
without getting
of the
into
ships.
Foundry mechanics, I'll have to analyze this to see if this can work for a group this size. But normally that's the only Diderics that you see. Normally it's a combination of fighters, frigates, and cruisers, and the one Diderics. We've got a few more, so this should be interesting.
Yeah, there is a post on Starbase UGC that you can search for. It's off the front page now, but that lists all the actors that appear and how many in what size group they appear in.
I think that's the one by Nagoric. Excellent
Yeah,
post. So
that-
I'll
yeah.
definitely be referencing that when I try to come up with a fix for this.
All right, so let's get fight and get into this.
Okay, fight.
I've heard fortune favors the bold. I guess we're about to figure out.
Yep. So the instructions here, it says the Remans will attack in waves. You will only be able to target and attack active ships. Once you have destroyed the last Reman ship, you will need to head toward the navigational beacon to leave the nebula.
Continue.
Okay. Captain, most of the Reman ships are disabled, but several are powering their weapons and moving to attack. And here we go. If you weren't
I
ready.
got blown up.
Too late now.
Too late now, that's right. This is about to get bloody.
Well, at least our explosions will take out the fighters.
And when you respawn, you should just be able to respawn right back in the middle of the fight, so... Yeah, this is a much bigger battle than it normally is.
So with these waves, how do you have it set to go up to for the next wave to appear?
So once we get done with this wave, it'll trigger a dialogue just telling us that the next set of ships are becoming active, and then the next wave, the walls will drop, and we'll be able to fight that wave as well. Well, so far my kitty carrier is handling it pretty well.
By the way, my carrier named it the USS I Love Romulus. See, the last, like my Jim Dart ship, it was the USS I Love Bajor. You probably saw me in Stoked being attacked by, because I had the USS I Love Bajor.
Yes, the people at Stoked are Bajoran haters.
So what do you think about that, Zag?
Well, of course, being a Bajoran myself.
Looks like that's the first wave
That
done.
wasn't too bad. Sorry.
Another group of Reman ships is powering weapons and preparing to engage. And then you respond, attack pattern Kirk Epsilon.
I'm
So
almost
many
dead.
heavy plasma. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, torpedoes everywhere.
Ironically, the last battle in this area is actually going to be the easiest because of the group mechanics that we're doing right now. If you're playing on solo, the last battle is meant to be the most challenging, but because of the way it's working out, it's actually going to be significantly easier than all these fights that we're doing right now.
Oh, I should, hang on.
Yeah, I blew up a bird of prey.
I'm going to go do some Daderodexes. Die, Daderodex. Die.
There you go, using your fire again.
Oh, ramming speed.
Oh, and I just sent some hull heals your way, too.
That's what usually happens.
If your ship is well equipped, playing this battle on Elite when you're playing solo can actually be a lot of fun.
I'm in a squishy
It's not impossible, but it is a little more challenging. Captain, the remaining Reman ships, including the Vendetta, are powering weapons. We're being hailed.
On screen.
You summon demons to do your fighting? Have you no honor? You will pay for the thousands of Remans you have murdered today.
It's over, Jotal. Stand down.
You are still outnumbered. I will destroy you, and then I will avenge my fallen brothers tenfold. The Reman resistance now holds the Federation in the same contempt with which we hold the Romulans. You cannot begin to imagine the suffering you have brought upon your people.
Let's end this.
Wonder what Overseg would say about all this.
Yeah, these guys have broken off from Obasek. They think he's a little bit too easygoing, believe it or not.
Do you have a... Terry's got a Obasek fetish, I suppose the best word for it is.
Is that it?
Yay! That's it. Now we just have to go to the marker.
There'll actually be a little bit of dialogue that should pop up here, but it's going to take an extra second. Well, let's just go to the marker. We can just go to the marker.
Yeah, it should have popped up for me, but because I'm out of red alert. But
Well,
Something popped up for
it
me,
actually
but-
would pop up a little bit later because of the mechanics of the way I designed that area. Like I said, it really is optimized for solo play. There's just a little pop-up that comes up telling you that the battle's done. So let's just go ahead and keep going, though.
course laid in, Captain. Gauge. Ah, there
Here
we
it
go.
is, it
Finally popped up.
There it is.
The vendetta has been destroyed. It's over. Yay.
Captain, I've plotted a course out of the tachyon distortion field. Permission to take us out?
Make it so.
All right, let's go ahead and engage out of here.
I'm engaging.
Rogue Enterprise in the chat room during the fight said, "Launch the Baz knives." That's humorous for me.
So is this the end of the mission, or is there anything else left?
There's just a little epilogue here that's just going to be a few paragraphs that kind of ties things up, and then we'll be done.
Cool.
Epilogue. After reporting the events of your mission to Starfleet Command, it is your solemn duty to hold services aboard the ship for the deceased. After reading the names of your fallen crew members, you step down from the pulpit, and Samantha Taryn takes your place. Solemnly, she reads the name of the fallen aboard the Cicero. After the service, you both retire to your ready room. Okay, so who wants to take Samantha?
I'll take Samantha.
Okay. After serving Samantha a cup of tea, a long moment of silence fills the room, as words fail you both. Finally, the silence is broken.
Your name, I need to tell you something. Something I could never tell anyone else. When you came to my rescue aboard the Vendetta, I was elated. But part of me was also furious with you.
You say nothing, Samantha continues.
I lost over 400 souls on the Cicero, nearly my entire crew. As I sat there on the Vendetta, a prisoner, I actually took comfort in the fact that I would never leave that ship alive, that I wouldn't have to live with the guilt of my failure.
Samantha. As Samantha breaks down, you put your arm around her. You saved her life, but you cannot take away the terrible burden she now feels. It is a pain that you know well. And yet, you find solace in the knowledge that in these times of terrible sacrifice, miracles still happen. Against all odds, you rescued Samantha Taryn. When you boarded the Vendetta, your only thought was to bring her home. And you did.
Oh, and that's you. You're reading
That's me.
the Admiral, are you?
I'll go ahead and read it. Thank you for playing my mission. I hope that you enjoyed playing it as much as I enjoyed making it. To end the mission, simply click on the End Mission button that will appear on the screen. This will allow you to give the mission a rating and write any comments you feel are appropriate. And P.S. When you are done, you may use the warp icon next to the minimap to leave the mission. Since I told people all throughout not to use that button.
Yes, good idea then.
And you can see other titles. We'll skip past that. Deadly Intentions, little plug for that. If anyone wants to play that series, 3-parter. And then you just click the end mission button.
Yay!
Yay! End of mission.
Okay,
So what
yes,
did you
for
think of that
those,
mission?
I enjoyed it. I like the stealth mechanic. The puzzles. The first puzzle was cool. I really like the way you force people to do that route in the second one.
It seemed really
in the
technically, you know, the technical achievement to have that kind of mechanic in there where you could actually fail and break out of the stealth mechanic and have to go back to the fighting.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 5 stars because I enjoyed the story. I liked the gameplay experience that you provided. It was fun, interesting, and different. And I'm just the master of puzzles. What can I say?
Well, you did really well with that one. I was impressed at how quickly you solved that.
Oh yeah, that was a good. That is like similar to the puzzle that they have on Druzana Station during the.
Yep.
Yeah, isn't it? The rerouting the power on the consoles. So that was pretty good.
That was my inspiration.
What about the other sections where you had the smoke screen and the that was what were your inspirations for those different parts of the stealth mechanics?
Well, like I said, it was really trying to come up with a stealth experience, and I've enjoyed playing other games with a stealth component. I played Splinter Cell back in the day. More recently, I played Deus Ex 3. Enjoyed that. Enjoyed playing the stealth option on that. I just needed a way to get you through the room. The smoke screen seemed like a natural choice. I've used that smoke effect in some of my other missions, so I knew that was there. Here's what's interesting. A little bit of just trivia, random trivia. When I first put that challenge together, it actually worked very differently. When I was designing it using the Foundry editor, there was a timer of sorts, and the challenge was you had to find the force field console inside the room before the timer ran out and get out of the room. Otherwise, the smoke screen would fall and the Remans could see you. So there was actually a physical timer element, and you guys know how the Foundry works. You know that you create artificial timers by having mobs fight each other off in some room, off map. So that's how I had it set up, and it actually worked very well in the Foundry test area. But for some reason, when I published it for a live test, when I published it out to the live server, the mechanic just completely failed, and I couldn't figure out why. And I also realized that, depending on which difficulty level that you chose, that could also affect the nature of the timer as well. So eventually I figured, you know what, this is already complicated enough. I need to find a way to streamline this mechanic. I need to find a way to do something to keep this challenge interesting and have a distinction between normal and elite difficulty. But I didn't want to have to do that timer. And so I really racked my brain trying to come up with an alternative. And finally, the solution was a little game of hide and seek with those repair bots. Create hidden interactables for elite that the player has to find in that room in order to complete the challenge. And then on normal, those robots simply don't appear. On normal mode, you just have to find the force field console and get out, and it's super easy. So that's kind of the progression of how that challenge came along. It started out being one thing, but in the end it became something else as a result of just the way that things play on the live server versus the way they play in the Foundry creation area.
And suppose that has to be something that every Foundry author has to take into consideration, that there are great differences between what happens in the preview and in the actual live server. For example, I know I was created a timer for one of my new missions, and what happens was because of the way things had been set up, somehow one of the mobs in that managed to jump from where they were to a room that you happened to be in, or room that you could see. So I had to find a way to work around that, and Yeah, so it can be a bit difficult, but you work around things, and as long as you keep an eye out for that stuff, you should be right as a author.
Yep, it's just a matter of test and retest and test again. It's interesting that final battle that we fought against all those Riemann ships. When I first published it, I thought it worked great, but some of my fleet mates that I had tested for me, the way that I had designed the invisible walls, there were places where they were getting stuck or where some of their enemies were getting stuck. And even though I had never encountered that problem, having them help me test, they were able to find things that I wasn't finding. And I was able to correct the architecture of that area so that that problem hasn't resurfaced again. But yeah, word of advice to any authors, you just have to test, 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 test. That's the name of the game. And, have people you trust run through and test it as well and find all the things. Because as an author, you know how the mission's supposed to work. And so subconsciously, you're going to do things in a certain way. You really also need to have your mission tested by people that are just playing it outright, that don't have your perspective to figure out where this thing could break and where it could fall apart.
Is that why you've added many of the, click the engage button to get out of this warp map or something, the kind of basic stuff that people might, overlook if they were new players, or they might one-star you on if you didn't realize that you could do these kind of things?
Yeah, because this is a mission with a since my other mission series, Deadly Intentions, one of those missions, it's kind of an odd series. The first mission doesn't have a level requirement. The second two, you have to be level 41 and above. And I mentioned that in the mission description. So people playing the first mission already know that. No one's going to be surprised when they discover they can't go on if they're not level 41. But that first mission, it got, quite a few one-star reviews from players who would accidentally warp out. And when I got the first few 1-stars, I just shrugged it off. It's like, no big deal. Someone made a mistake. But when they kept coming in, I thought, okay, I got to do something about this. If I don't want this mission score to get buried, I'm going to have to put in a little notice. And as soon as I put that notice in, the 1-star stopped, at least for that particular complaint. And so with this mission, I just figured better safe than sorry. My fear in putting that little advice piece in is that some players, especially experienced players, might find it a little condescending, might think that I'm insulting their intelligence. But really, it's just for newer players. And, as an author, you try to do everything you can to prevent those negative scores, especially in today's Foundry environment, where sadly there are quite a few bandits roaming the Foundry, just giving out 1-star, no comment reviews for no reason at all. When I first posted this mission, it got 3 1-stars right off the bat. Just no explanation, no reason. It slowly worked its way back up as far as the score. And then the score got high enough that it took off. And when this mission hit 50 reviews, and by the way, these aren't fleet mates, these were strangers. When it hit 50 reviews, it was actually #1. And that was exciting, but I was also terrified because I knew that with that #1 spot was going to come another batch of bandits. And sure enough, another batch of bandits came along, smacked it down with another set of 1-stars. And it's done okay. It's never quite recovered from that second blow, but I really can't complain. The mission right now has almost 500 plays, and the reviews so far are very positive. So.
Yeah, anything over a 4-star average is really amazing. And I noticed while you were in while I was in the edit in the list of missions that Deadly Intentions 2 and 3 are like 4.19 or something each, and you've done really well.
Thank you.
And I also had another comment. Anyone who's a Foundry author and who's had 1-stars happen to their mission knows that, and that you can easily tell where you came from with the map transitions.
Yep.
So what about the what did you think of the scaling of the groups on the enemy maps? I mean the enemy groups, because you haven't played before in a group of 4. Did you think it was a lot different?
No, never played with a group of 4. You know what? I'm kind of a crazy player. I actually loved that last battle. I thought it was a great challenge. I'm part of a fleet that's also pretty diehard about stuff like that. they would have loved that fight. They absolutely, and they actually would have liked to crank up the difficulty a little bit. They would have wanted to play on advanced or elite, and see just how far we could push it. I actually play that mission by myself on elite difficulty, and it's quite challenging, but it's really a fun accomplishment. I'm pretty good at doing it without having to respawn once. The last battle, the Riemann Captain, is the toughest one. But if you're very tactical about how you pull him, and I actually have my away team park out of the hallway outside, and I pull him around the corner. And when I do that, my captain's also a healer, so I have that advantage as well. I can sometimes, kill him off without having to respawn. But because he is so tough, there is that option to beam in reinforcements, and that way, players, if they don't want to take the, kind of roll the dice, because that really is kind of a dice roll, whether or not you can pull that off. You do have the reinforcements option to make it not so insane.
Mm-hmm.
No, I really enjoyed the last battle too. I was surprised that I only did die once, being in the squishy tag I am.
Yeah, I think
Well, it was
worked
kind of
out really
fun,
well.
being in my my kitty carrier. I'm watching my health tick down, and I'm looking at my heals. Will my heals recharge quickly enough so I can pop them off before I die? And the thrill of being able to heal myself and get through that fight without dying was actually really cool, because it was kind of nail biting at points. So I actually like the way it's scaled. The only thing I need to figure out now is how, or even if I need to fix it for 4 players. 99% of the people who play this mission are going to play single. And I know that playing 2 players, it also doesn't mess things up, because I've done that as well. I'll have to see if there's a feasible solution to have things appear the way that I want them to appear for larger groups. But part of the way that I solve for that problem is I just say, hey, in the mission description, this is optimized for solo play, not for group. Deadly Intentions is actually designed very well for group play. So if anyone wants to play that mission series on a team, it's actually a blast to do it. That was designed to be very flexible. You don't have the same kind of intricate dialogue trigger mechanics in that series that you have with this. This really is meant to be a solo experience. So I may or may not tackle that. We'll see. But so far, it hasn't been a necessity. I've only had one multiplayer reported glitch in the reviews that I've gotten. And because of my mission description and just the nature of the Foundry itself, I don't think that we're going to have too many groups of 4 or 5 people going through this mission.
Mm-hmm. One of the last things I wanted to comment on was the story and the addition of the Samantha character. What did you think that changed the mission, Bazag? Did you think it was different? Like, did it add some kind of personal touch, or some kind of emotional component compared to other missions, or is that why you put it in, Sovereign?
Yeah, that's exactly why I put it in. I'm sorry, did you want me or Bazag to answer first?
Both.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter which one goes first.
You may as well finish since you've started.
Okay, let me go ahead and finish my thought then. There was what was kind of the inspiration behind that. There was a mission that I saw in the Foundry forums on the Star Trek Online website, and it was a great mission. And I'd posted a comment on this mission because I thought it was fantastic. But the author asked a question. He asked about a certain event. Did it have an emotional impact? And I thought about it, and I thought, the mission was incredible, but this particular event really didn't have much of an emotional impact for me. And the reason why, the character that had been killed off, I didn't really have a bond with. There was nothing that really, this is a time of war. We go to missions where people die all the time. And there wasn't anything that attached me to that character personally. And as I thought about what would create a stronger bond, those kinds of bonds are created by shared experience. If you think about all the bonds, all the relationships you have in life, bonds and relationships are forged by shared experience of some kind. So if I wanted to create an experience, if I wanted you to have a bond with this character, I would either have to find a way to create it in the present, give you an experience with this character now, or find a way to make you think that you'd had a shared experience by using those flashbacks. And obviously, reactions are going to be mixed. Most of the reactions have been pretty positive. In fact, some of the comments, one of the recent comments that had come in, someone loved the character of Samantha Terra and they wished that she could be one of their bridge officers. And one of the first reviews that I got that I really appreciated was someone who made the comment after reading the epilogue that the mission had almost made them cry because of the experience that they had. So obviously it's not going to be for everyone. It's not going to touch everyone. But it does appear that there are a number of players that have really appreciated the personal touch that brought. And it's up to the player to decide, did you get attached to my character or not? Did you feel that resonated with you or not? But it was a controversial decision. Your fellow Starbase UGC alum, Havraha, didn't appreciate it quite as much. He was not happy that I had created backstory for his character. And that's actually just fine. That's why I put in the mission description that little warning, so that players that have a very strong opinion about their backstory and don't like the idea that I'm adding something can stay away from the mission if it's not quite their cup of tea.
I'm sort of, a bit torn between the two, because I did really feel like I had an experience with the character, but the one thing that did sort of break it was that, she was my chief engineering officer, where I know that Donnie is my chief engineering officer.
Yep.
And that's always been the case. But just because some of the weird things that happened, because he had a cover shield, and just the weird times that he placed the cover shield and weird places, and sometimes he made me stuck on pushed me into geometry with it. So there's that experience that I'd already had created with my bridge officer. So it was a bit hard, but I still did feel that she was, in essence, she was that protege in some aspects, that she was there. We had a strong connection, and part of that, I think, was the first flashback where she actually defended you against the potential operative Franklin Drake that we may or may not have been.
Oh, that was his last name Drake? He's not Franklin Drake.
No,
yeah,
okay.
No, I didn't think it
I may
was.
have to correct
Chief,
that. That's
Chief
interesting.
Petty Officer, yeah. Or Petty Officer, or whatever it was.
Well, you never
Another
know.
thought too, some people have also made the comment that for players that do have a strong, feeling about their backstory, treat this like a holo novel, is a comment that some people who've posted a positive review have said, that they saw it as a holo novel for their character.
So, any closing thoughts, Bazag?
No, apart from I enjoyed it, and a recommendation to go and see some of the stuff that you didn't see while we played it.
And
Yeah,
I'd
there's
like
some
to
fun
thank,
replay value there for you.
Yeah, definitely, especially choosing the other path with the on the ship. Don't have to do
There's
the
that-
stealth path. We could have just.
There's
I'd
that
like to see what
information
happens.
from the Ferengi we haven't seen, so
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
you've got to
and the other
indulge your
things as
dark
well.
side next time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank Captain Marshall for joining us as well. Thanks for popping in, joining us.
Thank you for having me aboard.
So, Captain
Yeah.
Captain Marshall, tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Okay, we have our live shows on Saturdays at 4:00 p.m. Eastern Time on livestream.com. So everyone's welcome to join that. And since we haven't unfortunately we haven't been able to make a website yet, so we've just been doing different live shows and in-game events.
Which live stream channel is it?
It is like Temporal Directive.
Okay, yeah. So that's okay. Cool.
So that was Broadcast UGC episode 29. I'd like everybody to come back and join us next week for our next mission, which we'll announce soon. And we're going to leave you with episode 24 of Bite Size UGC, which we teased earlier. They're reviewing Woody Valley's Catra and Catra Continued. So we'll sign off with that. Goodbye, everybody.
Live long and prosper.
Thanks, everybody.
Catch you on the flip side.
Welcome to episode 24 of Bite Size UGC. I'm Kirk Fat, and with me as always is Captain P.F. Dennis. On this episode, we're reviewing a two-part mission from Woody Valley entitled Catra and Catra Continued.
That's right. This is a mission with all the trimmings. It's got diplomacy mixed with both space and ground combat. It is also not without its share of humor. Let's get right to it with the story.
We thought it was an interesting story full of quirky and likable characters. We even get to meet Helna's cousin, who is a feisty and tough Rigelian woman. I really like the details put into the characters, and some of the humorous moments were really well done. With a few more edits for typos, the story could be really great. I'll let the captain say more about the story.
You are sent on a diplomatic mission between the Vulcans and Remans with dignitaries aboard, but diplomacy degrades into combat as forces are aligned against you. Watch for familiar characters from Cryptic's featured episodes with a touch of Star Trek III. It is also obvious that the author did a bit of anatomical research to script out his sickbay sequences. A personal note for the author, though. I don't do Windows. Story got 4 stars. On to map design.
The maps were kind of a mixed bag. Some of the early custom sets showed varying degrees of texture overlap, but this significantly improved as the story progressed. You can definitely see the author getting better with building as the mission continues. There was also a temple on Vulcan that had nice details. I'd like to see Woody keep building this temple.
Even though I have played in the damaged engineering ship map before, I have to say that it seemed different in the way that it was used here. It seems to fit tightly into the story and not like it was used because all of our interior maps in the Foundry have damage. I also agree with KF on the temple map. Very nice indeed. Map design gets 3.5 out of 5. Now to tech.
There wasn't much complexity here as far as branching dialogues, branching objectives, or crazy things done with triggers, but the mission was well constructed. The author created some nice visual effects by using certain triggers and assets. I also enjoyed lots of player animations.
I did enjoy the sequence when the player must remove a panel to make a necessary bypass. However, under the circumstances, in a desperate situation, I don't know if it would have been important to me to put the panel back afterward. Just picking a nit. Another 3.5 stars for tech. Finally, difficulty.
I definitely think the battles could be tweaked. The initial battle with the Klingons was pretty tough, but the last battle in space was really easy. Otherwise, it was very fun, and I enjoyed fighting alongside the Remans.
I have to agree with my esteemed colleague. The first battle is an ambush of such magnitude that it is highly unlikely that 2 battle cruisers could survive it, let alone a single player. That aside, the rest of it was just fine and fun to play. I did, however, enjoy thinking that the same barrage would be repeated in the final battle, but circumstances shifted when my Reman alloys joined the party. Difficulty got 4 stars.
And here's the bite-sized breakdown for Katra and Katra Continued by Woody Valley.
Promote the Foundry by playing these missions for yourself.
This has been episode 24 of Bite Size UGC.